Hello everybody, my name is Kat Nagar. I'm the director of the Atlanta Historic Dance Company, and I am here with a few of my dancers. This is Caroline, my beautiful model. We have Steve Manor, who's going to be talking about gentlemen's hair during the Regency time period, and Ken Johnson of History Now, who will be talking about menswear. So we're going to start with the ladies' clothing first. As you mentioned, there is a lot to dressing a lady during the Regency time period, and what we're focusing on is dress for an evening ball. So if we were going to an event during the daytime, we would have something covering this area, chemisette, something with long sleeves, and a hat with some sort of shade or a parasol to shade our face. But for nighttime, you want to have the lower neckline and somewhat sparkly materials. You might have embroidery. A lot of times you'll see Indian sari material being made into these sorts of ball gowns. As you can see, Caroline's dress is kind of a satin with a jacquard, and mine is a silk. It's kind of a plaid silk. So underneath, we have ladies' drawers. And this was the first time in history that ladies actually wore this sort of garment. It was a little bit scandalous because it was very similar to what men wore on each leg. So this was our underwear from the time period. Over that, you had your shift. And the shift was worn next to the skin, and it was something to keep the ball gown clean. With some of these delicate materials and without proper washing machines, you had to wash them by hand, and it was kind of hard. So this was something that you washed on a regular basis, and the ball gown was just kind of spot cleaned. So on top of that, we have our Regency short stays, and these were the bra of the time period. And then on the back here, the petticoat with this very bizarre suspender look. But this was the petticoat of the period. Oh, hi Christine, welcome. So it went under the bust. This was the waistline that was fashionable for this time period, buttoned in the back. And then on top of that, you would have your evening gown with long gloves. Does anybody have any questions about women's clothing? Hi, welcome.
Is it dangerous pinning your dress together with straight pins?
I would say no. It was
Not
something
usually.
that they normally did. It was easy to adjust the dress for the different sizes because pregnancy, non-pregnancy. So you could adjust the dress and make it a little bigger and smaller as needed, which was a little bit more comfortable. Later on, when you have things that were not adjustable and laced up the back, you were kind of out of trouble. If you grew out of the dress, you grew out of the dress and you needed a new one. Any other questions?
So you're saying the corset came later? The corset came
Yes.
after this period?
Yes, so this is the, I got this a little better. So stays were around, and I think the name changed around the 1830s, and then it switched over to the word corset, which is what we know all the way up through the Edwardian time period. Anybody have any other questions? Oh, okay. Well, welcome. You made it because we just started. All we did was introductions. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Marissa, would you be able to run off a couple more photocopies? We have some handouts, and we will give them out. We just need to get them made. Okay, so if you want to hop up, we're going to now turn the floor over to Ken Johnson, History Now, and he's going to talk about menswear for balls.
Yes, feel free to swoon. This is a fantastic outfit. I'm fully aware of that. That is why one would choose your outfit, to be fantastic at the ball or the ton. We're talking about Regency fashion. Let's define our term really quickly. What is Regency? What is the Regency era? Anyone? What is the Regency era?
The regent.
Okay, when you just used the word to define the word. You've used the word regent to define Regency, so what is regent?
Who was the regent?
Yeah.
The prince, George III's son, who was the kind of spendthrift, and George was crazy, and so the Parliament had to keep their eye on the son.
Yes, indeed. So, he was only legally regent by an act of Parliament for 9 years, 1811 to 1820. But the Regency period is much larger than that. It's at its extreme 1790s, which is when George III really started getting daffy, up until 1837 when Victoria comes in and an entirely new era is named. So we're talking about, a 30+ year time period. So this outfit, while it looks absolutely smashing for say 1810 to 1825, is not going to be worn in 1795. There is no representative outfit for Regency because it's a 30+ year time period. Having said that, I've chosen this because you see a lot of the styles and fashions sort of coalesce around this sort of look. I'm wearing boots, not buckle shoes. Steve is going to be wearing dancing shoes, dancing slippers, very specific thing for the ball and the ton. The trousers, not knee breeches. The longer waistcoat, not the shorter waistcoat of the 18th century. The absolutely fabulous swallowtail coat with the high collar. I look like a looming vampire. But let's have a listen to some words from someone who was there regarding fashion and what one should be wearing. This is from Reminiscences of Captain Grenell, formerly of the Grenadier Guards and Member of Parliament for Stafford, being anecdotes of the camp, the court, and the clubs at the close of the last war with France, related by himself. That means he wrote it. Here we have some words about the fair ladies who run the ball. The fair ladies who ruled supreme over this little dancing and gossiping world issued a solemn proclamation that no gentleman should appear at the assemblies without being dressed in knee breeches. I'm not wearing knee breeches. White cravat, I do have that, and chapeau bras. And the chapeau bras is the three-cornered hat that folds under the arm. This is a top hat, not a chapeau bras. So I've only got one item out of the three so far. On one occasion, the Duke of Wellington, the fellow that beat Napoleon. On one occasion, the Duke of Wellington was about to ascend the staircase of the ballroom dressed in black trousers, when the vigilant Mr. Willis, the guardian of the establishment for the ladies who ran it, stepped forward and said, "Your Grace, per the ladies, cannot be admitted in trousers." Whereupon the Duke, who had a great respect for orders and regulations, quietly walked away. So he could beat Napoleon, but not the ladies of the ton. Now, that's a very specific dress code, but that's for a very specific window in the 50+ years that Almac's dancing rooms were in operation. So you could read that and go, primary source, that's what they wore. That's what they wore between 1811 and 1816. So, let's take a look. We said that the Regency period could be defined as starting in the 1790s. Well, here's Long Ways Dance, late 1790s by Thomas Waldenson. And this shows you, in the 1790s, it is still very much knee breeches. Some of the dancing shoes that you'll see Steve wearing, a lot of buckle shoes. Look at this fine fellow. He's dancing with his small sword on. Can you imagine? That's not going to cause a problem, dancing with a sword. Actually, I've done that at some of our events because it's documented. So, but that's how we're looking in the 1790s. Let's jump forward, 1808, 1810 time period. This is an illustration of the first quadrille danced at Almack's. Quadrille was introduced to England around 1808. fashionable by 1813, and by 1816 it was firmly established and was a standard of the later Victorian ball. But let's look at what these gentlemen are wearing. He's wearing the knee breeches, the dancing shoes. This fellow is wearing the long, white, tight trousers like I'm wearing. He's wearing a version of the cutaway coat, not as severe as mine. So you see, fashion has already changed with 10 to 12 years between that first illustration and this one. Moving right along, here we have 1811, the 5 positions of dancing. So we've got an interesting thing here. Here are the white knee breeches that were, commanded by the ladies in that one period. And this is a pair of trousers, but his knee is decorated in the same fashion as this fellow's. Now these are ribboned garters. These black trousers here and these white trousers here don't need the garters. They're wearing them simply because they look fabulous. That is always going to be the key word. Does it look fabulous? It does? Wear it. And now you'll notice that little fob right there sticking out of his waistcoat. And I believe this fellow has one as well. So do I, right here. Now what is that? Anyone care to guess? You'll find I'm very much into the Socratic method. I ask you a question, even though I'm supposed to be giving you the answers. So this is a key attached to my pocket watch. The key is there's a counterweight, makes it easy to pull out and see what time it is, but you also want it to look aesthetically pleasing, so it's a little bit of a combination of form and function right here. But you see that right here illustrated in this print. Here we are. Longitude and latitude. Here's our latitude, because he's portly. Here's our longitude, because she's tall and thin. A caricature of Countess Lyman and a shorter, broader dance partner by the illustrator, the caricaturist George Cruikshank, 1813. Now she is, Countess Lyman, is the wife of the Russian ambassador to the English court. So she's a pretty high status person for Cruikshank to be kind of making sport out of, but he is doing it. And you'll see this fellow wearing the knee breeches, buckle shoes, not dance shoes, tailcoat that is not severely cut like mine. But look over at this dandy fellow right here. His coat is starting to approach mine. Absolutely. He's still got the knee breeches, but his coat is changing. So fashion is fluid. Things intermingle. For examples of that, look around you every day. This is one of my favorites. So you, the one that said the gentleman didn't have a problem. Here is Dandies at the Opera by Isaac Robert Cruikshank, George's brother, the guy that did the first one, 1815 to 1820. So, the little glasses he's wearing there, as you notice, that's what I came out wearing. Absolutely spot on documented. This poor fellow has been overcome by someone singing an aria. And one fellow was saying, loosen his stays. That's right, the gentlemen are also wearing stays just like the ladies did. Oddly enough, they too have body image issues. And they want to get the silhouette that is thought to be fashionable and comely. So they're saying, release the poor fellow stays, he's fainting, they're administering smelling salts. But look at, now this is the caricature, of course. But someone has to be wearing the fashion for it to be caricatured to begin with. You don't make fun of something that's not happening. So we've got the tight breeches right here, trousers right here. We've got knee breeches here. Now this fellow's trousers are a nod to the naval style, what are called slops. They're very loose, they flow, they're not close fitting at all, high-waisted. So he's got that, and then over here we've got a belt. These are based on infantry trousers. So we have 2 sets of pants that are based on military fashion, and then 2 other sets of pants, this fellow and this fellow, that are based on either old-fashioned types of bottom wear or the new fashion. So there's a lot going on. Also, over here we've got the top hat that I was wearing. So we see that illustrated as well. You see he's got a pair of gloves here. They're sort of an off-white tending towards yellow. He's wearing black gloves. He's wearing white gloves. I chose white, but there are a variety of colors. Once again, no one set thing. It's very much up to caprice within the context of what's going on. I love this caricature, 1818, by Isaac Robert, the brother of George. So this is the English lady's dandy toy. So let's look at her dandy toy. So it's clearly one of those jumping jack toys. You pull the strings and its arms, and actually I could be the model for that. Dangle and music. And so he's wearing, this caricature fellow is wearing riding boots, which sometimes were worn by people at the ball. Now, riding boots might be considered a faux pas. Who knows? That may be why they're being included on this caricature, because they're saying you really shouldn't wear your riding boots. Especially this guy's got spurs as well. He's got the tight-fitting knee breeches. He's got the tight-fitting coat. He's got an umbrella instead of a sword this time, but he's got the top hat and the cravat like I've got. And you see how hyper-exaggerated that collar is, just like it was with the dandies. This is probably what I've got is a little conservative collar. They certainly did get much, much higher. And I think, Steve, you're kind of a little bit more high than mine, but not as high as the caricature guys. And here we are. We're getting to 1821, George Cruikshank, Isaac's brother, illustrations from Almack's from the Tom and Jerry book. So now you're starting to see, after 10, 15, 20 years of Tolman, we're getting into the tight-look trousers seem to be the look even for this guy in the back. These are white, these are black. The coat seems to have settled into that swallowtail. You see that, that pigeon breast look. Once again, because they're wearing stays. It's so much easier for the men, though, isn't it? Now, Steve, of course, will tell you about their hair, right? But the fashion, everyone always tortures their body to look good in clothes. Always. It's just what we do because we're silly humans. And then, let's see, moving on, we've got, here we go. If you would like to take a quick photo of this, or I can bring it back later, this was a primary source I used in putting this presentation together. Dancing Through the Ages by Dr. John Gardner Gardner. This is volume 7, 1800 to 1825. A lot of the images you see me, I pulled from this compilation. And once again, what I love about this is you see these boots. Now, these boots are not riding boots as compared to the ones that Dandy Toy was wearing. These are called Wellingtons, made famous by Wellington, the guy that beat Napoleon. But you see these mid-calf boots really start to appear around 1810, 1811, because Wellington's famous, his footwear is famous. As a matter of fact, these style of boots are still called Wellingtons today, or wellies. If you go to England, you'll hear people referencing their wellies. But you see a variety of things through the ages. It's really encapsulated the dancing shoes, the boots, the trousers, everything. But as you see, things do tend to get tighter and more form-fitting. And then finally, once again, I'm going to end with this one. This one's circa 1825. You see by now, it's all trousers. You don't see knee breeches. We see, the tailcoat has a couple of different styles to it, but it's still the tailcoat with the high collar. This guy's wearing dancing slippers. This guy's wearing boots. So it's kind of settled into that by this time. But it will be subject to change as the Victorian era rolls in, and even though in late Victorian, there are very specific ways that you dress when you go to formal balls, there are still outliers. But that is a brief look at men's fashion. I'm also going to leave something out for you all if you'd like to take a quick photo of it anytime you want to. This is a list of some of the other books I used in putting this together. Linda Baumgarten's What Clothes Reveal is excellent. It's a little slightly earlier than Regency proper, but it is late 18th century. But Linda is the costume and clothing curator at Colonial Williamsburg. I've worked with her. The book is amazing. The Book of Costume, a comprehensive account of costumes through the ages. The top one is also great. And then Survey of Historic Costume is the third one. But I'll leave that there if anyone wants to take a picture of it, if they want to see some primary sources. They will love to do so. And that's enough of my yakking. Any questions? Yes?
What's the purpose of an extremely high collar?
Because a long neck is beautiful. Oh yeah, it's quite ridiculous. It's almost as though people go to extreme lengths to follow fashion and wind up looking ridiculous. Does that ever happen now, I wonder? So yeah, you're exactly right. It is extreme, but it's based on, a long neck is regal. Oh, the head sits so nicely on it. And then they go overboard with it. Any other questions, comments? Yes, ma'am?
Do they have colors, certain colors that were
Well, here's all sorts of colors. Are you saying that certain colors that were demanded to be worn?
that women.
Well, I will not speak to what the women are wearing. Kat will do that. I will
Oh,
only speak to what the men are wearing.
Yes.
But they do wear, the men certainly wear a variety of colors. I would imagine the women do too.
Right. So they wore a lot of different colors. I would say the only color that was something of a concern was the red color, because you had some ladies at the night who would wear the red. So if you wanted to wear a red, you would wear something that was a darker red, or like a burgundy, not like a bright red, because it really wasn't.
And was red color fast at that point? Isn't it like later in the 19th century before it's really color fast?
Yeah,
Does it run
I'm
some?
not sure. So red was really the only thing that was a concern. You did have certain social situations. Obviously, during the Regency time period, the white dress was the most popular. It was also very easy to clean, because white, you could just, reach in and clean it. But if you were somebody who had a lot of money, and to show off that you had this wealth, you could wear lighter colored dresses that were very, very thin, had a lot of embroidery, and had a long train. And situations like that, your dress may only last through one social occasion because it's dragging on the ground. And then you would just get rid of that dress and get a new one. So that was something to be considered as well.
And the old dress could go to a second-hand market.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And other people buy them, clean them,
Yes.
and now look, I'm wearing the fashion.
Yes.
There's a very brisk trade in second-hand clothing. Very brisk.
And I've also heard of cases where the mistress would give the clothing to her maids, which was quite interesting. If you're running around and have all this fancy embroidery, you'd have to cut the train off because it was ruined. But the lighter colors, it's just harder to keep those clean, whereas if you had a darker dress, it would hide dirt more, so that might be more of a status as far as showing your wealth.
Yes. Oh, actually, you had a question and then you. So what was your question?
Well, what were these fabrics? Silk, linen?
Silk, linen,
flax?
wool, flax is linen. Cotton. Cotton is coming into being a huge player by the early 19th century, the Regency period. Not so much in the 18th, but it's coming on, but by now you are starting to see a lot of cotton. The word chintz is always amazing to me, because chintz is the type of cotton coming from India that originally chintz and chintzy meant, ooh, that's stylish. You can afford chintz, and now we think of it as common and trashy. But it's not. Back in the Regency, oh, chintz, that's a very fine cotton. So yes, cotton, linen, wool, silk, this cravat is silk. So I'm wearing a mixture of linens and silks. This is a silk brocade coat, silk cravat, linen waistcoat, linen pants.
You're talking primarily England at this time.
I'm talking everywhere in Western Europe.
Western.
General Western. Well, the fabrics I just named are all the fabrics there are. That's all anybody's wearing anywhere.
I guess that's part of the design.
This is definitely Western European, and then by extension, British North America and the Americas. Absolutely. Yes.
This may not be fair to ask, but I wonder, this piece, what was the name of it?
This is a cravat or a stock, depending on what time period you're talking
What
about.
does it look like before it goes on all?
It looks like,
Yeah, that's what. Woo! Thank you. Oh, my goodness.
it looks like a 72-inch long by 10-inch wide piece of silk.
And then would you put it on?
I will put it on, because right now I'm in a terrible state of undress. So first we're going to fold it over so that we've now halved the width. Then I'm going to find the center. This is so much easier to put on when you don't have the waistcoat on. So I'm going to find the center, put that center of my throat in the front, wrap it around once. Now, I'm very persnickety about my collar. I want to make sure that it's rising above the stock. Sometimes you see that, sometimes you don't. There we go. So now, I'm going to adjust this side to have a little bit longer length, because I'm going to wrap it over and then through. Then it's just a simple knot. Then I'm going to pull this and puff it out a little bit. Tuck it into the opening of my shirt. Oh my goodness. And then the same thing with this. Just gonna pull it out. It gets stuffed in as well. Can I just do this without a mirror, so hopefully it'll get right. But now,
Great job.
what I want to do is really pull it out and then puff it up like, yeah, so there we go. Yeah, exactly. So then puff it back out. So there, yeah, well, I got it right back where it was. My hair looks fabulous. So that's what that is. It's just a long piece of cloth that you do decorative things with. There's history in a nutshell. Fashion history in a nutshell. Long pieces of cloth you do things with.
Hey Ken, real fast. Steve, if you want to go ahead and come up
Yeah, let's
and
take-
show the dancing slippers.
So right, look, compare my Wellingtons to his dancing slippers. Now those you see are not buckle shoes, they're just a slipper. They're literally just a leather slipper. I've got a pair of those as well, which actually Steve told me where to buy those, and it's a big secret.
Me too.
Exactly.
Walmart.
So Walmart. These are ladies' slippers, but they look exactly like Regency dancing slippers. And another thing, so his waistcoat is nice and designed, and has a different colors in it. Mine's a solid color. Both of these are valid choices. Both of these are happening contemporaneously. His cravat is, has a lovely color to it.
Same length of his, just tied
Same length, just tied differently. So the coat, his is also a cutaway, but not the swallowtail that I've got. So they're similar, but different. He's wearing trousers like I'm wearing, but you see more of his, shin obviously because he's got the dance slippers, whereas I've got the calf boots. This is just a matter of taste. He happens to like this style. My character happens to like this style, and that's just how it is. Different clothes for different people. So there was another.
I had a question.
Yes.
So some of these pants look horribly tight.
Yes, they are.
Have you ever before like
These are horribly tight, quite frankly.
Are they like that? Do they have like
No.
So what's the deal? Like, were these pants often cut on the bias? Like,
I could not possibly answer what bias they were or were not cut on. I can tell you that they're tight.
They were
And
just
maybe,
I don't think that they were cut on bias.
Yeah. They
I
just
felt
had-
like they needed to have some structure and.
Oh, they're very hard to sit in.
The desire was to show off the calves and be tight.
Right.
Not stretch out.
Mhm.
So they wanted to show off the leg.
Unless, of course, you're one of
And
those
everything
dandies we
was-
saw.
Everything was custom made.
Funny the thing, or
Were they not wet?
would they?
Well, you saw on the illustrations, what did they have around their knees? Garters.
Pretty baggy.
No, they had garters
Oh, they had garters.
to
That's
smooth
what
them
the
down.
garters are for.
Exactly.
Not purposeless entirely.
Not entirely. They're a combination. They do serve a purpose, but they are also very decorative because there's no need for all the ostentatious ribbon, and yet we saw it. So yeah, it's functional and aesthetic. So there we go.
Any clothes were made to measure.
Now, is this?
When you didn't go out and buy a pair of pants, you went to your tailor and had them made.
So yes,
This style would be party style?
this
Or
when you say party style, we're going to take that to mean in the Regency period a formal occasion where you're going out to impress people.
Correct.
Yeah, yes, this is very much. I want to go out and impress
You would
people.
not wear that every day.
I might. I mean, listen, and I'm not being flippant. I mean, I might. It depends on my station in life.
I was just gonna say.
If I'm, say, any sort of royal functionary working with the court or parliament, I might choose to put this image forward all the time. And then I might heighten, like during the day I might wear a linen or cotton cravat or stock, but at night, silk. I might wear a buckle shoe or a low shoe similar to that for comfort during the day, but the boots on at night. But the coat, the waistcoat, the pants might be all day. So
that
you
could also be a status.
it absolutely is a status symbol. Once again, some things never change. And fashion is a great way to show that.
All right, well, I think it's time to go.
Yes,
ahead.
absolutely.
Move on
Thank you
to
so
the
much.
next
This is you.
Again, this is Steve Matter. Thank you so much, Ken.
Good
Steve
evening,
is going to talk
ladies.
about gentlemen's hair.
Yeah. So men fuss with their hair as much as the ladies do. Previous decade or two before the Regency style, this is 1770s, 1780s. Men usually get their hair cropped very short because it was easier to take care of and they tended to have a problem with lice. So wigs came into fashion. Almost everyone wore a wig of one sort or another. But because the government is greedy and they want to make money, they decided to put a tax on hair powder. So the fashionable men said, no, we're not paying your student tax, so they went natural. And this is about the time where Britain is exploring the East, going to Greece and Turkey, and Napoleon is conquering Asia. So they came back with the Grecian style of hair, which is this sort of Caesar brushed forward. Napoleon took it to heart very much. I can't do it because it drives me crazy. But generally, I mean, your hair would be pomaded, and you would just pull it forward. If you've ever seen Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Collins, his are rather severe, but yeah, that was very fashionable back in the time. So that was your men's hair. Gentlemen, a little later, when beards and mustaches came into fashion, in order to get a nice curled beard, mustache, you would wax it, and then you would use what was called a mustache trainer. You could buy these or have them made. Just goes on around your ears, and then you curl up your mustache behind it and let it dry and set, and then you're ready for the day. In order to keep your mustache from drooping while drinking hot liquids, you would use a mustache cup. Has a little rim here, kept your mustache from touching the hot liquid and melting and looking nasty. At the time, you would have your valet, or if you had a real lot of money, you would have a barber. He would use a brush and soap to lather you up. This is more of a simple Georgian one. Eventually, they turned into these, much more decorative. You would put your soap up here, where it could drain and stay dry, and you kept your brush in a little holder down here. A lot of times people would put hot water in here, so you had a nice warm lather. Today, when you find these in antique stores, you'll notice a lot of them have men's names on them. And that's not because Dad couldn't keep track of his mustache, of his shaving mug. It's because many men left them at the barbers with their special soap and scent, and you went in and your barber would collect your mustache cup off the shelf with your name on it, and you would be guaranteed that you were using the same product over and over again. A little picture here of an old barber shop. You can see a little cabinet there with everybody's shaving mugs.
How did the waxing process work?
It was a wax. A lot of it was beeswax mixed with oils and scent, probably cloves or cinnamon. You would work it in, turn it up, and you could hold it and it'll stay for a while. You drink anything hot without a mustache cup, it's going to droop on you. But I find it's easier to use the little mustache curler to hold it in place while I'm driving to an event. People look at you weird at a red light, but it's like, that is the smallest COVID mask I've ever seen.
You said cloves and cinnamon?
Yeah.
Just because you smell good, or would it have some?
Yeah, sometimes the beeswax or the pomatum would have a meaty smell, but it's made from tallow. So if you want to cover that up, you start adding perfumes to it. Any other questions? Yeah, so that's how the men did their hair. Men did wash their hair, ladies wash their hair too. You know, maybe once a week, but you would leave the natural oils in your hair, help to keep it healthy. And again, you didn't want dry flyaways. So you would put a little pomatum in and brush it forward, it looked like Caesar or Napoleon. But a lot of men also had longer hair. They would curl it up. They could use rag rollers. Same ones that they used. And tie the hair up. You did little poofs on the side. You'll notice a lot of Regency dandies. Their hair sort of parted, and then all of a sudden their hair is just big around the sides when they've curled it up with rag rollers. Any more questions? All right. Well, have a good evening.
Okay, so now we know what the gentleman did to get ready for a ball, and now we're going to talk about what ladies did as far as their hairstyles. We are focusing on the early Regency time period. Later on, the hairstyles started to get much bigger and more elaborate, and we're just focusing on a simple updo for this particular class. On the ladies' handout, there is a recipe for a Regency era pomade, and it does have the ingredients. It's kind of a disgusting ingredient, and so you did want to add those items in there to make it smell better, so your hair smelled not like animal fat, but something pleasant. So, okay, so when you are deciding on what type of hairstyle you want to wear to the ball, usually it's best to start with research. So you go and look at paintings on Google of Regency ladies' hairstyles, and you find something that looks similar to what you can do, first of all, because not everybody can do elaborate hairstyles, and also something that's going to go well with your outfit. So you might see some hair decoration or a ribbon design or a flower design that you think is going to go well, and then you would try to replicate that. My hairstyle is a higher bun in the back, and then I have it just parted in the center, so this is pretty easy. I just have the first inch on the front pulled back and pinned, and I have it pulled back into this bun here. I have a little tiara, and this is something that I fashioned. It's actually a 1980s necklace that was turned upside down, and I just put on a cameo. I just wired it in there, and it works perfect for a little tiara, as you can see. And then I added some feathers in the back.
Nice.
There we go. And then I added the pearl earrings to go with the tiara. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. My Lady Di necklace. Alrighty, so now we're going to do a similar hairstyle on Caroline, and we're going to start by making a ponytail in the back here.
So is this a two-person job? I mean, can you do it yourself?
You can do it yourself. As I was saying before, you pick a hairstyle that you can do on your own. Some people can make buns and some people can't make buns. Who here can make a bun? Okay, so we have one person that can make a bun. Everybody else feels kind of concerned about it. I do have a good idea here. Christine here is also one of our dancers, and she, since her hair is shorter, what she does is she pulls her hair back into a ponytail, and she bought a braid that is the same color, and you turn it into a bun shape. And hers is sewn, and then you can just pin it on the back. So that's a good way to handle it. Now for your hair length, I probably just curl a little bit in the front to have a little bit of a design, and then put a ribbon on it or a headband, and then that's it. Because some ladies did have shorter hair. Sometimes you lost your hair due to illness, and you had shorter hair. That's just how it was.
Would turbans have been popular for them too, right? Turbans?
Yes, yep. All right, so back to our bun here. Can everybody make a ponytail?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. So we're on the same page, great.
So without rubber bands, how did they secure that ponytail in place?
I think that you would have just used a ribbon,
Okay.
and you had had help from your sister or maid to get that ponytail up there. Yes, you want a higher ponytail. That was just the style back then.
You have to wonder why they didn't just stop at a ponytail. Why it took so many
You know, so sorry.
So, you know, I think that so having something hanging down would have been too much hanging down. When you were younger, not of marriageable age, your hair could be down. But once you reached the age where you started to date, your hair went up, and that was a sign to society. Your skirt went down, and your hair went up, and that meant that you were of dating age.
Okay.
So we're of dating age, if you couldn't tell. Oh, it looks so pretty. Okay. So I'm doing a little twist braid. You can do a regular braid. So let's go ahead and take her hair piece and we're going to wrap it around. Now, if you like the small bun, you can stop here. If you want a bigger bun, then you can add, you could also do different designs. You could do kind of like a little crown if you wanted to, something different.
I don't think I've had anyone put my hair up since I was a little girl. It's a really lovely feeling.
Oh, I know, I love when people do my hair.
It looks great.
Yeah, that's very becoming.
Do you want
Wear your hair like this all the time, Caroline.
Everybody needs a braid.
Great.
It's a really good natural hair color too.
Oh, yeah.
Really good natural.
Okay, so I'm going to get the little curling iron. We're going to curl the front.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
And then we'll have a little Regency hairstyle.
I see the earring is much more intense, so, you know, I can see where that would be. I would wear my hair that way if it didn't that quickly, but it doesn't. It doesn't just go up for me like that at all.
Steve, can you get me a paper towel, please, from the other room? And since we're not the Regency, we're using heat protected spray, so we do not hurt her wings. So you can have curls evenly spaced all the way across. They can be going all in one direction. You can have a split in the middle. They can be curled out to the side. It's just a matter of personal preference. You can have it pulled to either side of your brow and then have the curls on the side going down. And again, it's just go find a painting, find a hairstyle that you like, and then you replicate that.
What did ladies of the day do to get inspired to look at up to date
Well, there were fashion magazines. good.
Little curling iron.
Isn't that just too cute?
I love this curling iron. I used to try to do these hairstyles with a bigger curling iron, and you just can't hit it. You just end up with these big fat sausage rolls, and as they come out, they just become bigger and bigger. This is a little small one. I don't see that look.
So are the bangs in Bridgerton really that short?
Are the bangs in Bridgerton?
That short, that super short.
Oh,
You know, there was a variety. I think it was a matter of personal taste. Bridgerton is kind of Regency fantasy, so you have a wide range of very interesting hairstyles and clothing, but it's very fun. Yes, that's what I would say. When I first started watching the show, I watched a little bit of it and I was not really impressed and I had to turn it off. And then I came back to it just as something that was kind of fun. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun and it gets people interested in history, so that's good.
cute. Were you familiar with hairstyling before you got into historic hairstyling?
Yes. I ended up being a model in college for the Matrix company.
Uh-huh.
And they would have these hair shows for hairstylists, and they would do all kinds of crazy things with gel and hair pieces, and that kind of sparked my interest in hairstyles. That was so much fun. It's a great job in college.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, the 80s. What a time to be alive.
80s, 90s.
I'm sorry, I was the 80s. I'm
The
sorry.
90s.
So is everyone gonna be at the Bridgerton ball? The next ball, are you all gonna have to
Tell us
attend the
about
next
it.
ball?
What is that? Yes, sure.
Hey Steve, do you want to talk about the ball for a minute?
Saturday, November 2nd.
Yes.
So yeah, we have a ball, Regency Ball, we're calling it Lady Whistledown's Ball, following after the Bridgerton fad. So, since that was this season's story trope through Bridgerton, we're calling it that. It's gonna be in Smyrna at Bronner Hall. It's November 2nd, it's a Saturday night. We will have dancing. We will teach classes, teach dances, so if you don't know how to dance, you're more than welcome to come and we will teach you there. There's also a list of classes the next few weekends before we lead up to it, where we're also doing classes at the Decatur School of Ballet over on Sam Street.
Sunday. Yeah, Sundays are.
Yeah, those are Sundays, yeah.
I think there's one this Sunday, right? The first one's?
Yep.
First one's this Sunday.
Less than a mile from where we're sitting right now is where we're right. Decatur School of Ballet, Sam Street Annex.
So is this type of dance similar to English dance?
Yes, it is English country dance.
It is
Yeah.
English country dance.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you, and swim calls?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. That would be me. Sometimes Christine will post the dances as well.
There will be two more sort of advanced dances that the company will do because they're very intricate. We won't call those, but all the other ones we'll call, and they're pretty easy to pick up. Yeah, it's all the same steps in different combinations.
Are they gonna be doing, the ones that we learned at Dragon? Because those were quite fun.
Yeah, what did we learn to drive?
We're not doing that. That was Mr. Beverage's Maggot and Spanish Waltz.
Yeah.
But if you've got that under your belt, you'll be fine. If you've already done those, you'll be fine.
Yes, absolutely.
How many people are in your company?
Oh, gosh. 14 people?
Yeah, depending on the day.
Do you audition for that, or how does that work?
Basically, what I require what I require is people have some sort of dance experience or some sort of ballet or jazz or something like that. or if they've taken a little bit of English country dance, contra dance, square dancing, something like that, so they're not coming in completely inexperienced. And then the rest that we'll teach. But I would say that the main thing is that people need to get a costume, and that's something that some people don't really want to do. You know, they like dancing, but they don't really want to have to get a costume. So.
Yes, with the ball will also have.
Or you can wear formal attire. That'd be fine.
We have a
Yeah.
chef.
I like it.
And she makes us period correct foods.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's a gating area for.
Who is it? Who does that? Do you know who that
Dance
person is?
all night, they're like, oh, I need to go play.
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay, so now that we have the basic hairstyle, now we can talk about trims and decoration. All right. I'm sorry. What?
I said that hairstyle gives her so much class.
Oh, you're very classy. Okay, all right. So if we were going with the purple trim that she has on her dress, then we could do a little bit of a purple ribbon here. And I'm just gonna pin that so we can just have a look.
And just bobby pin it?
Yeah, you can bobby pin it or put it in kind of a bow in the back or whatnot. And I saw a look that I liked that had the gold in the back and the purple in the front. All right, so that's one look there. And then if we take the purple off and just go with the gold. Now a lot of these hairstyles are inspired by Grecian, Roman hairstyles. So here we have just the gold, like that. But that's a very traditional style for that kind of look there. Okay. Great. Here we have some little leaves. That's perfect. That's what that looks like. That's very pretty.
That's the one.
So what I would do at the ends is just kind of stick it inside the hair, but we're just showing different designs now. And then what else do we have? Hair combs. This is a Marcasite hair comb, which were really popular during this time period. Pearls. And I think a double strand of the pearls would actually look really pretty with this hairstyle.
Where would you put the hair, the comb?
The comb, I'm not sure if I would stick it there or I might stick it in the back under here. I don't want to stab you.
Kind of stuff it in the
I don't want to stab you. Can you turn your head so they can see the back? There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So I might stick it like that just to have something different. All right, I hope I'm not pulling your hair. Okay. Or flowers. Flowers are always popular. And that would just look like this.
Would those be fresh or dried or silk?
I would say silk flowers would last a lot longer than fresh flowers. Okay. So you've already seen the hairpiece. That is the braided bun. I bought little pearls from the store and just attached them to combs, and then you can add them. If you wanted to get rid of the whole bun idea and just have a big sprig of curls, you could do that. That was popular during that time period. And here is a piece of human hair that I curled before it kind of came out, but you can just pin that on and then you have a different look, and I would curl it to look like that. And then lastly, we would do feathers as a different look.
Oh, yeah.
And then let's see. So to hide the ends of the feather, I don't have a brooch up here. I would usually take something like a large button or a sparkly brooch, like something like this, and you could just put that at the base of the feathers to hide it. The feathers on this one. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So that would look like that.
Very creative. This is really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, and pretty.
With this color down being neutral, she could change this color out with, I think cranberry would look really pretty with this, and again, you could bring that up with cranberry flowers, cranberry rhythm. Blue would look really nice as well. And it was very typical of them to change. This is a typical shawl of the time period, so if she brought in that cranberry color, she might have a corresponding slippers, a ridicule, a shawl, hair accessories, and that would extend her wardrobe. Oh, there you go. Excellent.
Ready for the ball?
Yes.
I'm curious.
Dress room.
Was thinking comfort, can you wear socks?
Oh yeah, they wore stockings from that time period.
Stockings?
Yes, they.
Real stockings?
Yes, silk, wool. Is wool stockings? Yes, silk and wool stockings.
So all the way up to the waist, or just like knee-high?
No. Those would be like pantyhose. Those didn't come out until like the 50s. So you would have had stockings that would come up, and you'd wear garters to hold them up. And white was typical for the ballroom, but you could have a color. You could have like a bright color. Again, if you're trying to pick up a corresponding color to change your wardrobe. And sometimes the stockings were embroidered, sometimes they had a little bit of sequins, you might have your initials on there. Nobody would confuse your stockings with somebody else's stockings. I think we're done. Gentlemen, you want to come on over? Come on over here while this end. Again, my name is Kat Nagar, the director of Atlanta Historic Dance. We have Caroline Clark, Steve Matter, and Ken Johnston.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is our first presentation on hair, so thank you so much for coming to our class.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Before we break, I want to hand someone up there my camera.